Hey guys, we have a totally different one for us today because I recorded this and it was wonderful and emotionally revealing a little bit, and I was just very pleased with how it all came out. And my microphone was not set like appropriately in OBS, so I didn't actually get any of the audio. And usually that would either be scrap the footage or try filming it again or just receive it as a sign that I was not meant to say those things on that video in that way. And actually, I'm kind of just going to talk about what it was I was talking about anyway, because I'm out of VR for the day, which is really unfortunate for me. I enjoy, first of all, just like being in VR, generally speaking, but today's Friday, and it is dance group on Fridays. And then outside of that, there's at least one boy who would like some attention in VR, possibly two boys. I mean, no more boys. Look, I understand, no more boys, but you want to be able to see people. And oh, that was my bell. That was my bell going off. I got the sound of the bell. Rest assured, we can hear the bell, just not any of the other things that I'm actually saying. So I apologize for the anachronicity of this particular video. But I wanted to preserve the mood that I'm in right now, and even if that means doing something strange, admittedly very strange, then, shoot, we'll go for it and see what happens. And it's going to be really interesting, kind of a fun little experiment for me, holding a microphone, eyes closed, and just narrating with like B-roll footage of me. What a strange life we live. Anyway, as for what the video is freaking about, I can't believe I haven't even actually brought that up yet. Um, it's just time for me to move soon. At now. Um, things are fine enough living at home with my folks, but at the end of the video, as you guys are unfortunately not able to hear as it was presented, just some good, nice little cry there, a good couple of tears, because I have a long history of living in places where I am not celebrated. And the whole skinny of it is just my dad's 60 something years and doesn't understand or appreciate virtual reality and what it is that I do. And it's very sweet that he's worried that I spend too much time doing it. But I did have to remind him that, like, that I do a lot more than just, like, I don't spend all that much time in VR. I'm doing a lot more. And he's like, oh, well, yeah, I guess you have your gaming setup down there too. And I was like, never mind my suite of coding and video editing tools. They're like, oh yeah, I guess you do that other stuff too. And it's like, am I just a 33-year-old joke to you? Like, I did not receive that very well whatsoever. Because I don't spend a fifth as much time in VR as I want to. I found myself in virtual reality and I find joy there. I'm happy. I like the people and I like myself, even when I'm outside of VR, but there's just a lot that I love with what I do. And something I've learned from a long history of being in relationships that did not celebrate who I was, I learned how to handle it. And I could absolutely learn how to, make peace, but then also just to still do what I do anyway and live my very best life, even though I know my parents don't understand it because why would they? Not even I understand it. Are you kidding me? I'm 33 and this is my hobby, but it's also a bigger part of me than I give it credit for. It's not just a hobby at this point. This is just so much of what I love doing, and I want to pay proper respect to it and to me who loves it. And historically, I will stay in a position where I'm not celebrated and learn how to live. I went through a very long marriage where I learned how to not be myself or to be myself in secret. And then, most recent relationship, being me was not a celebrated thing either. Um, and that hurt a lot. And I could make do with where I'm living right now, but I also want a lot more than that. And I want to live the kind of life where someone fights for me, for my right to live in a place that means something to me, like a place where I'm celebrated, where it's a good thing to be who I am. And I have absolute confidence in my ability to live appropriately, to balance friendships and real world communications and interactions and sexual satisfactions and virtual reality, and then being social, but then engaging in hobbies and having fun and work. I That's fine. That's a-okay. Groovy. We're living large, we're having a good time. I know what is right for me these days on the happiness front. I went to pretty good lengths to figure some of that out. You know, it took me a good couple of years. This part's fun, by the way. I'm laughing my little head off right now, because I just said something about it kind of went down the wrong way. Because I'm not doing great living in mom and dad's right now. It was always going to be a temporary situation, and at that moment, I just busted up because I very pointedly I juxtaposed to coming from Michigan, where I was living with my ex boyfriend, and that was a zone where I thought that me, who I was going to be a celebrated thing. I thought it was a good thing to be little old Phineas Former, and then as it turns out, it was not a good thing to be me in that life circumstance. It was a bad thing to be me. uh, and somehow just in this, it was hilarious to me, so I cracked up laughing, and now I don't even remember where I was, but it was kind of fun to see. You know, old Phineas, you're gonna be okay. But I'm not able to stay here. I'm not willing to stay here for much longer because there's been a long history of people not fighting for me. Um, at least not as I've recognized it. And there's been a tremendous history of people helping me and showing up for me when I need it. But if someone I loved was in the position that I'm in now, I would like to fight for them to get into a better position. And I'm the person who's able to do that now. And I could suffice, you know, I lived with my ex-boyfriend, you know, for a month, even while we were broke up. It was truly atrocious of a time of life. And then, you know, married to the wrong person for 8 years, and plenty of other relationship experiences before then. And in none of those relationships was I something to be fought over. I was not a desired thing in particular. And I choose to desire myself these days, I think. Because I think I'm pretty cool. And I like what I do. I love what I do. Thoroughly. And I don't want to do what it is that I do in secret or in spite of. And I don't want to be somewhere, because Resonite's a place that you go. And I don't want to be in my parents' basement going home. Resonite feels like my home. It just does. And I don't spend as much time there as I would like to for a number of reasons. But chief most is knowing that just one floor above, mom and dad are watching TV, and I'm 33 years old. Like, there's something there, and I don't really think that the correct path is, you know, to try and get anyone to understand my position. um, I'll definitely say my piece because there were some damaging things that were said. So we'll have a conversation, but I just don't feel like being in VR right now. And it's so much of who I am that what actually I just barely said is that I don't feel like being myself. And that's maybe the most damaging thing I've said for a very long time because I love myself. I love what I've come into. I love being a squirrel. I love making videos. I love teaching Protoflux. I love expanding my horizons. I love building relationships and doing new things. There's so much that's going really well. And yesterday, I got good and proper fired up. I went and drank at a buddy's house and we commiserated because I knew that being on my own in my parents' basement was not the call. That was not the move. And came home still feeling pretty fired up, still feeling a little bit, a little spicy. And certainly I could bully my way into VR all the same. I'm sure. And I don't know. Actually, I don't know, man. I know my moods pretty well, and it ain't happening today. And that's all right every now and then. You know, sometimes it just ain't happening. And it's a shame because there's no reason it can't, in theory. And that's what I'm never going to be able to know for sure. Like, I'm still figuring it out. Am I holding myself back because, like, I stumbled and fell? And so, well, if my 60-year-old dad doesn't understand it or appreciate it, then I'm not going to. That's like, well, at that point, I'm the one deciding not to be in VR. That's my decision. And maybe you could rise above it and engage in your hobby anyway. And there's something to be said for that. And I've developed that skill. I could do that. Easy money, I could do that. I've done that for almost 2 decades. I got distracted just now because my hand in this beautiful visual is like in my nose. And I was like on a roll too, man. I was so happy with what I was saying just then, and I can't think of anything else except for my face in my hand. Phineas, I'm not going to cut this part out. You got to move your hand, buddy. I think this is actually when I was almost going to be done with the video too. And then I said no, and this made me so mad, guys. When this moment happened, I was about to be done with the video, and I said no, there's one more thing to say. And then I built up the strength to say it. And right now I'm talking about very plainly how it hurts not being celebrated for who you are, for who I am. It and I could be myself anyway, even if in the world around me it's not understood or celebrated. And that's a skill I've developed to VTube, even when I'm effectively living out of a VR shed next to my ex-boyfriend's house, and to persevere and develop programming and learn to be an author under the thumb of just the wrong person. I could, but I want more than that for myself. I don't, I want to surround myself with people who would be excited to hear about my plans in VR rather than people who would be excited to hear that I had gone out. And I'm very displeased with myself that I went to my friend's house to blow off steam instead of getting into VR to blow off steam. In the future, I'd want to make a better choice than that. It's hard to say because I think it's limiting. Because at this point, I am the person who stops me from getting into VR. Absolutely, it's me. I'm stopping myself. But I also don't want good enough because I've settled for good enough for most of my life, and uh, um, because it's not good enough actually, and I'm gonna figure out what it does look like to move forward and to do better. To I don't know. Um, we'll get there. We'll get there. Plans and machinations and things are on the way. Um, but it's time to move, and I'll be figuring out what that looks like. And it'll be interesting recognizing I do need to live somewhere where the person I am is celebrated, but my options are limited. And ultimately, all I can do is follow with what's right in my heart and trust that it will be right in action or what have you. Like so far, every time I've trusted myself and my instincts, um, things tend to work out. Like I end up in the correct position. And for crying out loud, even moving in with Spec, I ended up where I am now, which is happier than ever before. And I'm trusting again that as I move, wherever it is that is the next place I end up, that it will be correct there also. So we'll see. And I gotta take a moment to apologize to the universe right now because I feel like there's something more for me to say, but I don't know what that would be able to be. Because I'm just kind of like sitting in my chair in my parents' basement, holding my microphone, kind of like rocking back and forth a little bit because um, I don't feel like being in VR right now, and I have the day off. I have plans. There's videos I want to film, tutorials, and there's people I want to see and say hi to, and I don't want to do any of it. Uh, and once I'm done recording this little voiceover, then I have to confront, the next part of the day. And it's really unfortunate having to acknowledge that where I am at is not working. Because there's a lot of things that are going great, but um, if it's not right, then it's not right. You have to figure out what to do with that. And so I have to put a couple of plans on pause so I can kind of figure this out. And that's too bad. I wanted to make a video about it, and so I did. And then I lost the audio to that video. And so I wanted to record new audio. And so I did. Again, just because that's what sounded like the right thing to do. And I couldn't tell you why. So I am going to go, though. And I hope that you all have a wonderful day.